Traditional Council says it will not rescind its decision to actually flush out nomadic herdsmen and their cattle in communities within the area. The chief of Ejura, Banma Osi Shede II, recently destood his sub-chief for his alleged role in aiding nomadic herdsmen to penetrate a crime community at Naso number 1 and number 2. This was after farmers and inhabitants accused the herdsmen of being behind recent robbery attacks and other crimes in the area. Of course, Nana Yaojima has been visiting the area. He comes through with
the Ejura Traditional Council has taken a decision to flush out nomadic herdsmen and their cattle in communities within the area. The chief of Ejura, Berima Osei-Shide II, recently destood his sub-chief for his alleged role in aiding herdsmen to perpetrate crime at Memenaso number 1 and 2. This was after farmers and inhabitants accused the herdsmen of being behind recent robbery attacks, including the killing of a police constable and destruction of farms in recent times. Abuafonhene of Ejura Traditional Council, Nana Yawapia, affirms the council's decision to evict the herdsmen from the communities.
So the Fulani community in Ejura as a whole, we don't have a problem with them. We have never had a problem with them. The issue has to do with those who come in. Normally, they are not even from Ghana here. But you know, as Ghanaians, as welcoming as we are, when they come in, we think that they come to feed their cattle and go away. But they come along with this robbery, kidnapping, and destruction of farm produce. So we've resolved that enough is enough.
The leadership of the Fulani community in Ghana, however, says the use of force to stop migrating cattle may cause the animals to disperse, which may lead to destruction of many farms. General Secretary of the Tabita Palaku International, Yakubu Musa Bari, suggests the traditional authority soften its stance on the matter.
The timing of his invoking was very, very close. The animals have already moved. They are even close to enter. And if you say you destroy them and stop them, to bring a lot of security threat within that community, or within the district.
Musa Bari also expressed concerns about what he described as continuous stereotyping of the Fulani community.
We are also whistleblowers to the security. When we see, we spoke, we engage them and bring out the bad notes to them. At the end, the next minute you see them out on the street again. Information we are getting, allegedly, they have godfathers. When they are being arrested, some godfathers came with huge amounts, change hands, and these criminals will come out again.
The Member of Parliament for Ejura Setridumase, Mohammed Bawa Brahma, who is also a member of Parliament's Defence and Interior Committee, called for urgent solution to the concerns in the area.
They should come out with a plan that they are coming will not endanger life and property. And if whatever plan that they bring sits well with the traditional authorities, all of us will sit down together and see whether their continuous influx into this constituency will not be to the detriment of our people.
Police in the area are continuing investigation into recent attacks, including the killing of the police constable. For Joy News, Nana Yaojima, Ejura.
Nana Yaojima, who's joining us via Zoom this time round. And Nana, I'm just interested in the mood right now within Ejura itself, knowing the background to this and the likely escalation it may bring if it's not, handled properly.
So it's difficult hearing you from here. Can you please?
Yes, I was just talking about the fact that I'm interested, first of all, in knowing what the mood is right now within Ejura itself, knowing that there's a background to this. There could be an escalation of matters if this is not handled properly.
So if you ask about the mood, the farmers, most of them are excited about this development because they know that the traditional authority is not ready to soften a stance for these Fulani herdsmen or nomadic herdsmen to come into the community, because some of them, according to them, have had a number of issues whenever these herdsmen travel into the community from the north into the community. A lot of them say they've sometimes, through their activities, destroyed the crops that they grow on their farms, which has led to many of them losing some revenue to the situation. In other instances, they also say that their presence in the community also affects the security of the people in the area. According to them, whenever the herdsmen travel into these communities, there's surge in robbery cases. For instance, in recent times, according to the security agencies, they've recorded a number of robbery incidents in the area. One resulted in the death of a police constable, and some of these people are pointing fingers at the Fulani herdsmen or the nomadic herdsmen for perpetrating such crimes. So the people in these areas, some of them are excited about the move by the traditional authorities and also the security agencies to restrain these herdsmen from coming into the community. But according to the leadership of the herdsmen, whenever we enter the dry season, what they do is that some of these herdsmen travel from north and other parts of the country into the Ejura municipalities to ensure that their animals are well fed. So it's been a ritual. This year they've set off, and most of them are about entering Ejura. So if the security agencies should start to disperse these animals, it will affect farmers within Ejura, because most of these animals will go their own way and start destroying these farms without any person, whipping them in line. So according to these people, it's both ways. Some are excited. That's the farm on the farmer side. They're excited. On the side of these nomadic herdsmen, they believe that something should be done about this directive.
Have we been hearing from any other authority within the area? Because we know this goes beyond just the traditional leadership of the community.
So there was recently there was a meeting between the police and also the traditional authority, and the information that we had is that the traditional authority charged the police to ensure that no nomadic herdsmen with these cattle enter the some of the communities within the area, especially the farming communities. And the police accepted this task, and they are moving to ensure that this is done. They restrain these nomadic herdsmen from entering the area because of the danger that they pose to the farms and also the people there. Because mind you, as I said, there have been a number of robbery incidents within the area, and they are pointing fingers at these herdsmen. The information that I've gathered.
It appears we've lost Nana Jima there. Member of Parliament for Ejura, Alhaji Mohammed Brahima, has been sharing how authorities intend to prevent a possible disruption in the event, of course, of an eviction.
So, into the Ejura Traditional constituency is an annual affair, and every year that they come along. Apart from the destruction that it causes to farms and crops, they also sometimes life and property are endangered. And much as we respect the ECOWAS protocol, the free movement of goods and persons, that should not be done at the disadvantage or to the detriment of life and property. And of late, we have had a number of robberies that have occurred in Ejura. I mean, I can count as much as not less than 6 robberies that have occurred. And in each of these robberies, suspects that are arrested mostly are Fulani people. And so normally around this time when they come in with the cattle, apart from the destruction that they cause to farms, the crime wave also increases. It's on the rise. And that is why I feel that the call by the Municipal Security Committee and Nananum is welcome, because for now we cannot say that when they come, we cannot deny that they come along with economic activity, but most of, if you look at the disadvantages that accompany their coming with to graze their animals in the constituency, I feel that the advantages far outweigh the advantages.
We definitely know that anytime there is such ban, it's often accompanied with some sort of confusion, especially as the Fulani community is upset with this directive. How do you intend to prevent any possible disruption in the event of the eviction? For now, I don't think, for now, even if I heard the General Secretary of the Fulani saying that the animals are close, if really what he's saying is true, then it means that they are in to destroy farmers' crops, because this is the time that farmers are harvesting. Most farmers have not even harvested their crops. And if you are telling us that you are now your animals are close to the constituency, everybody knowing that the West Jamas constituency is a farming community, then we are in for trouble. So I attended their meeting. I impressed upon them to come out with a roadmap as how they can ensure that if they bring in their cattle, there will not be distraction to farm produce, and also to ensure that at least the crime wave, because the owners of the cattle, the owners of the cattle themselves don't follow the cattle. They employ some people, give them sophisticated weapons, and these are the people that is the same weapons that they use to commit these crimes. So what is the guarantee that when they come in with their animals, the crime wave, as we are experiencing now, will not escalate? So I will plead with them that they should not exacerbate the situation. Farmers are now harvesting their crops, and for them to say that they will flout that ban, I believe that the Municipal Security Committee is the highest security decision-making body in the municipality, and we believe that whatever decision that they take, it is in the interest of the people of Ejura Traditional to ensure that the people live in peace.
Dr. Adam Bona is a security analyst. He joins us via Zoom now. Thank you, sir, for your time. We know that of the Ejura incident, what it led to, and some recommendations that were made. Looking at what's happening now, how do we pick up lessons from the three-member ad hoc committee set up by the Interior Ministry, so we avert, of course, a possible escalation?
So, good afternoon. I think that the Traditional Council should probably engage, instead of engaging the nomadic herdsmen, they should rather be engaging the Municipal Security Council, i.e. the national security or the police in the Ejura municipality or in the area. I can foresee trouble, and this is perennial. Once you have the rains stop coming down, the nomadic herdsmen begin to travel with their animals, and so once they do that, usually plants, food crops, and plants get destroyed somehow by these animals, and so there's been several engagements to get this nomadic herdsmen issue resolved, and it hasn't worked. And so I would call for dialogue. I would call for dialogue instead of the outright ban by the Ejura Traditional Council. Or else, if they don't dialogue and they want to use confrontation, I believe we are going to have a security situation at hand. Then this issue actually came up recently at the Accra Initiative Conference in Accra, which I took part in. Nomadic herdsmen and the issues surrounding nomadic herdsmen and the communities they go through or sometimes they find themselves. And so, blessed, I think that they have to be more dialogue instead of an outright ban I'm not sure how that is going to work, because then you need a higher authority, an authority higher than the traditional authority, because we live in a country that is governed by rules. And so I'm not sure if they are going to take the laws into their own hands, looking at the outright ban. I'm not sure under which law they will do that, but that is not to say the destruction of food crops should be entertained. So I think that there has to be dialogue and dialogue and dialogue to find an amicable solution instead of this issue probably that is staring at us.
Intelligence is a key part of security. Do you see a breakdown in that?
I think so. I think so, because then you don't have to be an intel officer or someone who has to pick intel to know. If you can actually tell that every year around this time, nomadic herdsmen begin to travel, either they are crossing from parts of the sub-region into this part of the sub-region, Ghana and the rest, or they are moving from other drier areas in the country into a more areas that have some amount of grass for the cattle to feed, and therefore someone should have known. It's just the ability to have the data and review the data and know that, you know what, this is going to happen, and therefore let's put in measures. But even if they didn't have the data, I suspect that before the Traditional Council issued this fiat or this ban, obviously there would have been engagement and counter engagement. Didn't anyone attempt to sit them down and let them know, if you are coming in, we are going to designate a route for you. You cannot go through here, you cannot go through here, and make sure things work. I think that, yes, this could amount to some amount of intelligence failure. I hope that the municipal chief executive of the area is up to the task and, putting in place enough measures, and by now calling the security agencies within the country to sit with the nomadic herdsmen, so that this doesn't become a full-blown confrontation. Because if you look at the sub-region, this thing is getting out of hand. Some nomadic herdsmen, of course, are carrying sophisticated weapons. I think I listened to the last person who spoke. I think he's a member of parliament. Yes, some of them carry sophisticated weapons, and some of them actually engage in, activities that are uncalled for. Apart from, herding their cattle, they engage in other activities using the other weapons. But that shouldn't be an excuse for us not to live in a rule of law country. I want to see, how the rule of law will work, where we wouldn't have traditional authorities here and there, because under what law would a traditional authority, that is, I'm not disrespecting the traditional authority, but I think that these things must be done within the framework of the law, because then if they do that, and these people are the nomadic herdsmen, from what I'm hearing, I also say, no, we are going to fight back. Where would that send us to? Total anarchy. So I think that I am not sure what has happened to the committee. I know for a very long time, the Minister of the Interior and his, the committee, the ad hoc committee, have been engaging. So I think this is the time for the ad hoc committee under the Ministry of the Interior to pick this up and, bring the feuding, the party, the traditional authority, and the nomadic herdsmen, their leadership together, and let them have a dialogue, because I think that wherever they find themselves, they should learn to live peacefully with the people.
How about the District Security Council? That's going to be a very good platform if indeed some dialogue would have to be promoted in terms of dealing with the matter. How do you expect that the District Chief Executive, who doubles as the chair of that Security Council, approach this matter and tackles it effectively?
Well, if he hasn't started, if I think it's a municipal chief executive, they are the same anyway. If this has not started by the district chief executive or the municipal chief executive, then it's within his remit. Because even if he is going to call for a reinforcement, it has to actually go from the municipal or the district to the region, and then from the region, if the region cannot, because the Ejura comes under Ashanti region. If the Ashanti region Regional Security Council cannot deal with the situation, then they would escalate it to, the Interior Ministry or the National Security, or escalate it to Accra. But as we speak, it looks like even if there's been such engagements, I doubt it's been meaningful. And so I am still wondering why the traditional authority would be those who will be issuing this fiat, who would be banning the people, and not the the municipal chief executive and his people, because they are clothed with power to do that, because the law actually mandates the municipal chief executive to chair municipal security council meeting. And if things are getting out of hand, even if there has to be a curfew, the municipal chief executive would have to actually write to the interior minister for the interior minister to subsequently grant the curfew or deny them the curfew. But if nothing of such has been done, it becomes very difficult, because then you ask yourself, why would the traditional leaders be the ones who are actually issuing this ban, and not the municipal directorate or the chief executive and his people? I find that a bit strange.
Right.
But of course, lately we've seen our traditional leaders issuing a lot of fiat. Sometimes they will do and come back and apologize. But I think that we should at all times make sure these things are done within the framework of the law, because then I can't find anywhere in our law where a traditional authority can ban somebody who probably is engaging in a particular type of business, because those who are herding this cattle, remember the cattle business, the cattle work, or the herders are in business. So if you are banning them, there has to be a way to have the power to ban them. So the moment they see you not to have the power to ban them, then chances are that they will disobey you. And once they disobey you, it becomes difficult, because you are the landowners. And so you can get your people to rise up against them. And what happens? There will be all-out confrontation. And already we have had enough within the sub-region when it comes to, nomadic herdsmen confrontation. If you go to Nigeria, it is everywhere. Go to Burkina, it is everywhere. And so we've got to be careful. I will call on the municipal chief executive. If this has eluded him, he needs to quickly put his act together. He needs to sit with them and make sure that the right things are done.
Dr. Adam Buddha, thank you for joining us.